up, everybody? My name is Kate Els, and today I'm going to be telling you how I got to plat in my first season of League of Legends, and maybe show you how you can too. So first things first, again, my name is Kate Els. I stream Monday through Wednesday right now. It's just kind of a part-time hobby and whatnot. If you want to catch the stream, it's linked below. I got to plat in my very first ranked season of League of Legends. I made top in jungle for season 10. So I'm going to go through some of the things, that helped me move along. I'll show you my growth curve, kind of the champions I played, why I picked them, and maybe how I learned so quickly. And I'll kind of move on from there. So as we move on, a small disclaimer before I go into these tips, pointers, and reasons I've climbed, some things that might have helped me more than the average gamer is it's not my first MOBA. I definitely wasn't a Dota 2 type MOBA player, but I'm not new to the type of genre and whatnot, and I didn't play RTS. I came from a game called Vainglory. It is a mobile MOBA, or at least it was, that actually came to PC as well. So it was a cross-platform mobile MOBA. It was also on PC. I hit top 100 NA, in the last couple seasons as a flex player and a support main. At the end of the Vainglory's life, I kind of just played whatever role no one else wanted to play. There was no such thing as, auto-filling roles and stuff like League of Legends does and whatnot. So, yeah. I'm also not a noob at gaming. So if you're new to my channel and whatnot, which this could be new for a lot of people, I've been playing games since I was like 8 years old. So good at a lot of the games I touch. Rocket League, I hit Grand Champion. Obviously, League of Legends, I hit Plat. First season, Vainglory, top 100 NA. I can go on and on about other things, but the last disclaimer is I played a lot of games. I played a lot. I think overall, before the preseason actually started for season 11, I hit around, I think I had about 900 games this year. So it wasn't easy. It was a lot of ups and downs, but mostly, I'll show you, the curve was up. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing, in my opinion, that people need to do if they're joining League of Legends for the first time with season 11 is finding the role you want to play and also understanding its importance. Okay, and what I mean by that is, again, I was a top in jungle main. So mid season 10, top had a lot of agency over games, especially tanks, especially like Maokai and Malphite. These type of laners that could TP gank and stuff like that had a lot of agency over games. So those are some of the roles I stuck to it, especially jungle. Like obviously jungle is one of the hardest roles to learn, but if you can jungle well, you carry games single-handedly by just taking objectives and whatnot. We all know the importance of dragons right now. If you want to play ADC, you got to understand ADC right now isn't the most important role of the game. And if you want to climb, especially out of the low elos, you got to find those roles that are going to carry you. So mid can carry pretty hard, jungle carries pretty hard. So I feel like if you want to pick up League of Legends for the first time, you want to carry, you want to get out of your low ranks, you got to go mid or jungle right now due to the agency and whatnot they have on a game. Secondly, I played jungle Amumu to start, okay? So by playing Amumu and jungle to start, I did two things to myself. One, I simplified the game by playing Amumu. Okay, so Amumu is one of the simplest kits in the entire game. You hit your Q, you land it, you cry on people, you hit R, and you probably win the game most of the time in bronze, right? But not only that, starting in the jungle forces you to learn all the other lanes as well. So at first, you're going to have the information dump of the world playing jungle. You have to understand pathing. Well, you got to learn pathing. You got to understand each individual lane matchup. So if you want to gank a mid, you got to understand that mid doesn't have a good gank. Maybe you have to focus top and bottom. If bot is pretty bad at setting up ganks as well, they're kind of late game scalers. Maybe you got to help them. But again, you got to figure out, you got to know the matchups. You got to understand every single lane, which makes jungle one of the hardest, but also the most important roles to understand, I think, as a new League of Legends player, because the amount of information, if you're able to retain it, will help you in every other role you play in the entire game. So, all right, now into the next thing. The next thing that players need to do if you're just joining a game is when you pick your champion for your specific role, once you figure out what that role is, you have to understand the meta and you have to understand the power picks, and then go and based off of that, you want a meta pick that's not too meta. All right. What I mean by that is, let's take one of the most notorious top laners in the game right now is Darius. All right, even if you don't play League of Legends, you've probably heard of the dude, right? You can't main a guy like Darius or a person like Samira in the bot lane because they have like 40 to 50% ban rates. Okay, that's a big problem. Two, that people don't like to play against them. So it's just like, okay, so if you're gonna dump this time into a champion that you're never gonna be able to play, it's too meta. It's too overpowered to the point where no point to main it. What you got to do is you got to find that sweet spot person. You want to find someone with about a 52 to 53% win rate in whatever lane you're playing, but has a pick rate that's hovering closer to 2 to 4%. You can find these on all different sites like Mobilytics, op.gg, u.gg, all the different, whatever, API you want to use. For example, my picks that I chose to climb, where I chose a Mumu jungle because he stomps low elo, so it's a great thing to climb out. But he never was banned. No one ever bans a Mumu. They banned Master Yi low. And top lane, I mained Maokai and Urgot. Okay, Maokai was at one point at like a 54% win rate and a 3% pick rate, but the ban rate was below 1%. Okay, so I was able to almost always pick my champions no matter what. So you got to find that champion for you. Now, someone's going to probably say, oh, well, I would like, a lot of people say play the champion you find fun. Yeah, that's not what this video is about. This video is about climbing in your first season and hitting plat, right? My goal is diamond next season. So if I can hit diamond in 2 seasons, that's kind of what we're going for, right? So yeah, that's my next thing is picking your champion. You got to find the meta, but not too meta pick, and run with them and start figuring out the ins and outs with them. All right, on to the next thing. So we've picked our role, we've picked our champions that we want to main. Now it's about learning the champion, and this is how I'm going to explain the most effective way I think to learn champions in League of Legends is/are, depending how many you're playing. Because when you first enter League of Legends, the game is overwhelming. There's 153 champions right now. There's all the new items with Season 11 that came in. Even all the players that have been playing for years and years are still relearning stuff right now. So there's a lot to take in when you open up your first game. The mini-map, the abilities, the clicking and moving, the minions, the objectives, right? So you gotta simplify it for yourself, all right? Break it up into little pieces. The first thing I would say to do is look up guides and pull them up next to you. Pull them up on your phone and have them up, okay? So for example, when I played a Mumu, I pulled up a little thing on my phone or on my second screen that I have here that told me exactly what to build almost every game. Okay? Build every game, max this ability every game, and do this. Okay? So what that allowed me to do was to take my mind off of the building, take my mind off of the ability, stuff like that. It let your mind work on other things to learn, right? If you're just learning how to just attack and move at the same time and hit your abilities, okay, now I know I'm not really trying too hard to overthink things and overcomplicate it. If you simplify it and break it into little pieces, you'll learn the champion much quicker, and then you can start taking in other important information as well, such as what the other champions are doing, which is very important. So, especially for let's just take my top lane example. It was like Urgot, right? I pulled up an Urgot guide. I had my runes every single game. All right, at the time it was Conquer, but then it got nerfed. So I went away from Urgot, went to Maokai, but that's another explanation. But at the time it was Urgot. I knew I was always going Conquer and whatnot. I knew my runes every single time, and I knew my items every single time. All I had to do, and I knew exactly, I was maxing W every single game, right? That was it. That was it. And so now all I had to do was make sure I hit my combo. I'm not worried about what items I'm building. It's telling me what I'm going to build. I know how to hit if I learn my combos and I can start beating people one-on-one by just straight up building the same thing every game. Now when you get to a certain level and experience, you can start tailoring stuff to win even more, right? So that's what I'm saying. When you're learning a champion, pull up a guide, pull up an item sheet, watch a video, be a sponge, right? And this is things like I did. I play a couple games. I see a champion I like. I'm like, I'm going to watch a YouTube video on it. Oh wait, I don't know if that's a great play style for me or whatever. So you just that's how you gotta learn. You gotta be able to soak up information, simplify it, and break it up into little pieces. And then if you do that, I'm sure you'll help climb as well. All right, before we go any further, there's something you gotta understand about League of Legends as well if you're just joining. Champions will get stronger and weaker throughout an entire season. That's what the game developers do. It helps keep the game fresh. The game's old, right? You got to do something to make it. If you had the same champions that were always strong and no one played the other 150 or so, then you wouldn't your game would be dead, and everyone knows this. So so that's my next disclaimer that I was explaining about. Champions get nerfed and buffed. Okay, you have to be able to change with the times as well. Be flexible. Okay, I know I said pick a role, pick a champion, learn them. However, like I said, when you're picking your champion, it's got to be meta, but not too meta. If all of a sudden your champion goes from not to meta and now they're getting banned every game, it might be time to find another one. This might cause you to dip a little bit in MMR. It happened to me too, multiple times. So you got to understand League of Legends is an ever revolving door of learning. And if you can get yourself up to speed, the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can be able to adjust as well. It will help you in the long run. All right. We're going over the simple stuff. Now let's talk about you yourself as a person, okay? The last thing I think you really need to do, so after you pick your role, understand the importance, after you've picked your not too meta champion, after you've learned your not too meta champion and whatnot, the last thing you need to understand is the game will be frustrating. Your teammates will be frustrating. It's a team game. And at times, sometimes you can get away with one person not pulling their weight, but in other games you can't. Majority of the time, if not everyone is at some sort of similar wavelength in the game, you're gonna lose. It happens. All right. So this is what we're gonna get to with tilting and getting upset and frustrated at your games. First things first, I think a very good thing for new players to do is mute the typing chat. Don't mute the pings, just mute the typing chat. Okay. Especially when you're in low elo. Bronze, iron, bronze, silver, gold, low gold. Majority of players that are still in these ranks and that are very high up, whatever they're typing, there's a reason they're still in the low tier. You know what I mean? You don't need to listen to it. All right. Mute the typing. Keep the pings on because those are helpful and whatnot. But mute the typing. Secondly, is I don't think you should turn on all chat. You don't need to know what the other team's saying. There's nothing important about it. All right. There's nothing important, in my opinion, about all chat being in video games. I have it on when I stream for content because it's entertaining occasionally. But most of the time, if you're just playing League of Legends and you're not streaming, just don't even turn on all chat. Mute the typing. All right. Turn on typing, I think, when you start getting to high gold and plat, because people start kind of coordinating things like invading and whatnot. So that I think that's really it. Okay. Those are my tips. Now I'm going to walk you through how my season went. Okay. And what I did to get to platinum in my first season. Okay. First, I played. I played. I just played the game. I didn't buy an account. I played by myself. I did casuals up to rank number 30. Don't buy an account. Do the casuals up to rank 30, and I guarantee this will help you in your rank, okay? So like I said, I played, and then I picked jungle. And the reason I picked jungle personally was because everyone said it was the hardest role. And I'm like, okay, it's the hardest role, and I learn it. I've done the hardest part in the game at the very start, in my opinion, right? It makes the rest of the learning the game so much easier. And then on top of that, I picked a Mumu. A Mumu is easy to play, easy to learn. I'm learning the hardest role in the game. I'm going to make myself something easy to play. And what that allowed me to do is it made me understand macro, objective controls, jungling, jungle pathing, what the monsters are doing, how lanes are playing, and whatnot. And I climbed dramatically quickly out of bronze and silver using a Mumu. Okay. So after my climb to silver, I started running into a little limitations with the Mumu. A Mumu is still great in silver, don't get me wrong, but I started needing a little bit more to carry games. A Mumu is a very team fight oriented player, and around like low silver to high silver, low gold, it's all about hyper carries. Okay, so like playing Darius top lane. At the time at bot lane was like always Ezreal. Mid is a fed Yasuo, but even though all Yasuos in silver are bad. Point is, I needed something to do a lot more damage, and I got to be able to take over games a little bit more. And I don't know how I got introduced to him, but I got introduced to Urgot. Okay. At the time, Urgot was sitting at a 52% win rate and like a 0.5% ban rate. And I'm like, why is no one playing this dude? His pick rate was about 1 to 2%, so he wasn't really popular. But I'm like, okay, maybe I'll learn this guy. And dude was a team fight machine, a lane machine. Was very simple to build, very simple to play. The hardest thing you really had to understand was the interaction with his E and his W toggle. But at the end of the day, once Urgot, if there's a fat Urgot, he can 1v9, and that's what I did. I played Urgot a lot, and I climbed all the way up until about low gold, and then they hit Urgot with an indirect nerf. Okay, the indirect nerf was a nerf to Conqueror because all the bot laners in the world were taking Conqueror because Conqueror was too strong at the time. They nerfed it for range people. Okay, whenever they nerf ADCs with rune sets in bot lane for range, it nerfs Urgot because he's technically ranged in terms of those stats. But if you know anything about Urgot, his range is basically a melee. Like he does auto attack at range, but there's some people whose auto like melee range is just as long as his. It's a very small range champion. So then that led us into the next guy, the tree. Okay. All right. So the tree, Maokai. So as you can see, I've moved away from jungle and went into top lane. Top lane had a lot more carry potential in silver and gold, solo carry potential than jungle did, because jungle is much more powerful the higher you climb up in terms of how teams prioritize objectives. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay, so again, Maokai. Maokai, there was a couple top laners at the time that were absolutely ravaging top lane. Malphite, because of his ability to go head to head against any attack damage person, and Darius. Okay, those are like the main powerhouses in the game. They're still absurd right now, but that's a different thing. Maokai, if I ban Darius, was one of the few champions that can go head to head to Malphite, and a lot of the other matchups as well. Maokai does very well into melee matchups. Very well. Okay. So, and here's the thing. Maokai at the time was like a 54% win rate. At one point, I believe Maokai had the highest win rate in the game, but a play rate of about 3%, never banned. Everyone's banning Darius. No one wants to play against Darius. No one's picking Maokai. Right? So, Maokai has a kit that super tanky, underrated damage. If you ever see Maokai's damage at the end of the game, you're gonna be like, wait, how did he do that much damage? That's the way he has sneaky damage and unbelievable objective team fight control with his ultimate. Okay, so kind of going back on what I was learning was, okay, so now that I'm in like low gold to mid to high gold, what starts becoming more of a priority, I feel like, and that is not only winning your lane, but also winning team fights at objectives. Team fights won't happen in the middle of nowhere, I feel like, or if they do, they're very unplanned in that elo. But as soon as you start getting into the 15 to 20 minute mark and drag start becoming very important, Maokai has an ability that easily is one of the best at controlling objectives. He could zone everybody out with his ultimate. He can start a team fight at an objective, etc. So I started climbing immensely with Maokai. Very simple kit, very simple to learn. Played top lane. You can win your 1v1 duels. You had teleport. You take that, use it on the dragon. You pick up some kills, and you were just a monster. You were just a machine. All right, and that's what I did. I played Maokai a ton. I mained Maokai. I mained Urgot. That was pretty much it. I dabbled here and there with some other picks. I was trying to learn Quinn a little bit, but again, I'll show you with my progression chart that you could see exactly where I went up and went down when I was trying champions, up when I was sticking to what I knew, and etc. So that was the next step for me. Okay, and now we hit high gold. I missed plat promos like 2 or 3 times. I was like, oh, this game sucks. I was getting tilted. I was getting frustrated. I know. I wasn't even listening to my own advice, but I was. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, I just want plat in my first season, right? And then all of a sudden, Riot does sometimes they just do some weird things, right? They took my boy Urgot and buffed his jungle for some reason. Didn't make any sense. He hasn't been, apparently he hasn't been a jungler in years, and all of a sudden they just gave him these jungle buffs. I'm like, I play jungle. I know how much jungle can carry games and team fights. I play Urgot. Like, hey, let me test this thing out. Like, what runes am I gonna play with? And I joined an Urgot Discord server. I know, weirdos there. Swear to God, good. They're funny, but they're weird. They're Urgot players. Come on. But I joined them, and there was a couple guys that also played Urgot jungle, and they kind of showed me the ropes. And I hit plat about 2-3 weeks after I played Urgot jungle. I was climbing insane. I was playing him probably a little bit differently than most people play Urgot jungle. I treated him as almost like a Warwick. His level, his 3 camp clear, his red to blue Gromp to gank, you could be top lane by 225. Most top laners are still level 1, just hitting level 2 at that point. So I literally ran the same strategy almost every single game. I told my top lane, I'm like, hey, be ready for a gank by 230. Let the wave drop. I'm going to gank up there. I'm going to kill him. If he has teleport, he's going to teleport back because he's pissed off he got ganked at level 2. And we're going to kill him again. And then you're going to snowball the lane. And then I'm going to go take Scuttle, and then I'm going to gank mid lane. Because what people don't realize is Urgot at level 3 with double buffs, no one's killing him. The only jungle you have to worry about at level 3 is Olaf and Warwick. And that's about it. That's about it. That there is no one else that can 1v1 Urgot in jungle with double buffs. It just doesn't happen. So that and then I hit plat. I hit platinum about, like I said, 2 weeks after that. I think it was around end of September, early October I hit it. And then I just kind of relaxed and enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it again this leading up to this preseason. I think I'm moving into jungle and whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna be having some fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little guide and lesson and whatnot. And yeah, if you ever want to catch me streaming, like I said, I stream Sunday to Thursday. I play every game imaginable. I'll definitely be playing League of Legends. My goal is Diamond this season, so hopefully you guys can be along for the ride. Thanks, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and like and subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.